What's up, headbangers? My name is TNT, and I'm the vocalist of Sydney power metal band Ethereal Realm and Sydney melodic metal band Visualis. You're watching Testimonies N Testaments as part of Headbangers Australia. Massive shout out to Headbangers Australia for putting this together. Let's get into it. I want to welcome you to Headbangers Australia. Very
Cool.
good evening. Obviously, I think it's good afternoon, good arvo, as we say here for you guys.
Yep, here it's quite nice. It's like 2 o'clock.
Looks like it's pretty nice and bright where you are.
Yeah. It's not really exactly sunny, but yeah, sometimes it comes out.
Yeah, no, it's winter here, so Southern Hemisphere.
Really? How does winter feel like in Australia? Can't be that cold, huh?
Well, that's what people say. But,
Yeah.
we are very close to Antarctica, and you get the winds from Antarctica coming here. So, like, when you look at the temperatures compared to Europe, it doesn't look that it's that cold, but it does get, when the winds come in. And plus, there's no, like, insulation here. So, yeah.
How
it
cold
freezes.
does it get? How cold
It
does it?
depends where you are. So if you're like inland, it can go like -1, -2.
Well, that's nothing.
Yeah, I know. This is what everyone says, but like
Over here, you can easily go 15.
yeah, I know.
15 minus. I mean, it's just like this. I mean, it's getting warmer. Definitely, there's a climate change going on. It's like
Sure.
we have had last Wednesday. We had like 38 degrees.
Yeah, wow. Yeah.
for
No,
the
I heard it was like 32 or something in London, and that's like a heat wave happening there.
Yeah. It's definitely getting hot. I mean, we had hot days in the 80s too, but they're getting more, and the
Sure.
winters are getting milder. I have to say that you hardly have snow, but it used to be easily 10 minus, 15 minus, things like that. That was no big deal. When I was a child,
Hmm.
in January we were always able to what is it when you snow with the, with the I don't know what is it called?
Snowboard and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, with the where you sit
Skiing?
down. Called. I don't know the word for it. Like when you
Snowboard?
sit down, drive down the hill in the snow.
Yeah.
In the snow. Yeah, like what Santa Claus is flying around with.
On a sledge.
Probably something like that. But everybody had it. It was
Yeah.
something you had because there was always snow, and nobody has it anymore. No
Yeah.
child has it because there's rarely snow, and if it snows, it's maybe for 2 days and then it's gone again. It's
Uh-huh.
getting warm. Definitely getting warmer.
Yeah. Well, that's the way of the world at the moment.
Yep.
But let's get into the album.
Yep.
Giants and Monsters. I have had the chance of listening to it. It's brilliant. And I wanted to know right off the bat, basically, where this album started from. What was the inception? What were the bones of the first song? Where would you go?
We never really have a master plan. We never really make a theme or something like that we go for. The only thing that when we did this, I think it was at the end of the last show we did was in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Playing on a festival in I think it was November in 23. And then we had a nice meeting where we had a nice dinner, and then we talked about a record that we're gonna try to write the next year. And the only thing was to open up, to not trying to reproduce the 21 record, just open up and see what happens, and not being afraid of trying out other things like we always do. That was the only thing, and it turned out to be very organic. I remember, and I've said that a few times in an interview now because I thought that was an interesting development. When the first couple of songs came in as demos, like early summer last year, I was recording a song from Toby from Avantasia. I was recording something with Moon. I don't know what the title is. Something in the yeah, but there's a song that I was singing.
Moon Flowers?
The last record. It's the last record.
Okay. Yeah.
The song that I was singing. Great song. Very Helloween,
Yep.
Very, very Keeper-like. He knows how to do that stuff. And I really enjoyed it. I said, that's a great song. It's great fun to sing. So I was thinking, I hope we got stuff like that too. I hope we can come up with stuff like that. Otherwise, Toby should write songs for us, you know. And because it's like the first 2 or 3 songs that I was listening to that came from the demos that didn't kick me that much. They grew on me later on, and they grew in the studio and turned out way better. But in the demo version, I was kind of a little bit frustrated. I thought, wow, Toby's song is better. And I was really happy when like the next weeks went down and there was more songs coming in, and yeah, that's cool. That's a good one. So it's like, you can't fool yourself. You can't fool your heart. You can try, it's not working. If you're not happy with material, that's just the way it is. I mean, you can lie to yourself, but it's not gonna last. So I was happy when the material came in that it was great, and it didn't stink against Toby's song, you know.
No, definitely. And obviously, like, there's quite a difference when you listen to something that's a demo and then like a finished product. And then obviously, you know, you can be your own worst critique at times as well, because you know the song in and out, you know.
And there have been a whole bunch of songs that we did not consider as very strong in demo state, and they grew in the studio. And by the time we laid some vocals down, it really became something, you know. And that's exciting.
The flesh came onto the bone.
But it's like, it's an unexpected plus, an unexpected amount of songs that are great, you know what I mean? It's like you have these songs in demo version where you know that's going to work, that's a great number, you know, where and they stay good. It's not that they become worse when you record them. Usually they grow a little too, but you knew right away that they're going to work, okay? Like Universe, for instance. It was clear. This is like it's like almost like from school book, writing a Helloween song from school book. You know, it's like, of course it works. Nobody doubt that this works.
Yeah.
But there were other songs where we didn't think they would really come on the album. We thought they might end up as B-sides or bonus tracks or something like that. And they really came, not all of them, but it's like a whole bunch, like 3 or 4 songs turned out way better than what we thought. And that makes you happy because you just got more songs to choose from. This is why I'm always saying we already have written the next album. It's already there because we got so many great songs, you know.
Fantastic. You briefly touched on the 2021 album, aptly titled Helloween, right? And I think that's the album where all the 3 vocalists have come together. And you guys released this album, and I love that you guys did that. And like, as you can tell, I'm a Helloween fan. You know, I love the artwork from the last album from Eliran Kantor. I've been following him as well. I bought this hoodie because it's got that artwork on it. And
it's a good one. It's a good one. I like that one.
It's great. It's great. And like the moment I saw the cover for the new Helloween album, I was like, yes, they got him back. You know, that's
it's the same guy.
He's got his own style. That painting, it's, you know, if you paint with brushes, you know, it kind of looks like those thick strokes.
And he's also he's a real artist, you know.
He is. Yeah.
You can't argue. You just give it an idea. We gave him the title, and that's what he came up with. He said, that's how I would see it.
Yeah. And he's so for instance, he's taken the Helloween flair, and you can see it, especially with the last one. With this one, he's also done like covers for other bands like Creator, and I'm pretty sure, like, you know, Mille Petrosa must have spoken to him, and then he just brings that brutal kind of artwork, and I'm like, that's very Creator, but that's very, you know, Eliran Kantor. You know, I hope I'm not butchering his name, but like, you know,
I don't know how to pronounce it either.
No, I think I thought that was fantastic, and you know, artwork forms a huge part of music.
Absolutely.
Many times when I've just looked at artwork and I'm like, oh, I need to like listen to this band and stuff. And like, I'm a fan of comics myself. Like,
Actually, we wanted to have a. It's like when we came up with the title, it started with monsters.
Yeah.
I wanted monsters. And we had the intention to make it a bit funny, you know, more like a humoristic kind of approach, which we always had. We never had it on record, on the basic record, more on the singles. Helloween later on did it a little bit with the rabbit thing and stuff like that. It was not very well received, but I thought it was funny. And we had some ideas in that direction too. It didn't turn out like that. And then in the end, we thought, it needs more than just monsters. So we made it like giants and monsters because you can do more with it. There's a bit more of a dynamic going down. You can read into it whatever you want. It's not very clear who are the good ones, who are the bad ones.
That's right. That's right. And it's also kind of like it puts like the whole like is it like giants versus monsters? No, it's giants and monsters. They're together kind of thing.
Yeah, there's so much you can do with it. And we had a whole bunch of cover ideas, of course. And we had one cover that would have been very controversial, and I'm not going to tell you because I'm not allowed to, that we all thought was really funny. That would have been funny, dark, funny. Mm-hmm. But it didn't turn out to be that cover. And in the end, I think probably was a good choice to go with the same guy, But it's different now. It's almost like an abstract painting. It just has like a gesture, really. It's like it's very arty. I think it's almost abstract in a way, but it works. It makes sense.
Yeah, no, definitely. I really love the artwork and stuff. So I had a listen, as I mentioned. I listened to the whole album a few times, and obviously you mentioned that you came up with monsters. Who came up with giants?
I think that was Sasha. Kai came up with monsters because he wrote the song. Is it Monsters, right? It's called Monsters, I think. And he just thought, and I agree with him. It's a funny, if you make it in a funny way, it's cool and it's very Helloween.
It is very Helloween, yeah.
It would have worked, but it didn't turn out. It didn't go that way. We also had other titles which were great. Waiki had a great title, which I'm not going to mention because we might use it sometime. Mm-hmm. And there were artists who were suggesting covers from it, roughly, computer generated ideas and stuff like that. But I think it was Sasha who said monsters is a bit too what is it? Primitive, he said. It's like too flat. It needs a bit more, somewhat. Of course, you always have this of the and you always have these kind of. We didn't want an of the, so we like. He's just, and then I don't know who came up with giants. I can't remember. It was a few chats that we did. It might have been him with the giants and monsters. It made sense right away. It has a nice dynamic. But it started with monsters.
That's great. No, so yeah, look, with the name of an album, that really sets the tone as to what's going to follow. And when I look at all the tracks, you have Giants on the Run, which is like how the first song, and it's bombastic, it's epic, it really sets the tone for the rest of the album. And then you got, other songs like We Can Be Gods, Hand of Gods, Majestic, Universe, and then when I look at all of those, I see This Is Tokyo, and I was like, where does Japan fit into this? And what's the story there? Is there actually something that we as the general public don't know? Was some of the songs written in Japan? I don't know.
It's just a love affair. It's just a love affair. We've been to Japan and especially Tokyo since the 80s. It's like when we did, I think it was Keeper One already, that we got really successful in Japan. And Japan was very different in the 80s. Not like it is now. Now it's a lot more rock and roll. It's like the concerts are not so different. The audience reactions not so different to even South America. But in the 80s, it was different. They were not allowed to stand up. They had to sit down. There were security people taking care of them. When they stood up, they, got forced out. It was really weird. And it was like when the song was over, they were clapping and stuff, and then it was silent. And you were talking, and they were listening, and you played the next song. It was different. It had not much to do with a rock show. That has changed, but it was always great. Japan has its own spirit. I don't know if you've ever been there.
I haven't, no. But
first of all, it's very safe. Yeah. It's like a woman can jog in the park at night times. Nothing's going to happen. Yeah. It's a very safe city and country in general. They're very trustworthy. If you tour there and you have to organize equipment and you depend on local technicians or whatever they say, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It will happen. If they tell you, I will have this and this and that at that time, it's going to happen. So it's like they're very professional. They're very trustworthy. Yes, they're very hard on themselves. So it's like to live as a Japanese in Japan is probably not that nice because they're really hard on themselves. It's a very hard and tough working society. They should work on that and maybe be a bit more relaxed. It's just the European view, where they have a different mentality. But when you go over there and you just benefit from it because everything is very, very professional. And it's a great atmosphere. I've always loved it, especially Tokyo. There's nothing greater than having an off day and me and Marcus going to the guitar stores in Tokyo. They have these streets where they have all these guitar stores and stuff like that. It's just amazing. They have good stuff. They're really good stuff because they're not so far away from America, to get the stuff over and stuff like that.
And they really do love their metal. When you look at all the Asian countries, you got like Japan and you have like Indonesia, who really love.
Oh yeah, that's where we go. We're gonna go this year. We will play in Indonesia too.
Yeah. And it's interesting because the first single of the album, this is Tokyo, and I watched the video and it's like, wow. So you got your power metal, you got your cheese, you have these robots, not shying away, which is what it's we embrace the cheese, that is the whole thing of power metal.
And Japan, there was a time where when you had national bands there trying to do rock music, it was very cliche. It was extremely cliche. It was almost funny, but they got there. Like over the years, they got much better and much more unique. And nowadays, they influence other countries. They have bands that become successful in other countries and stuff like that. Yeah, whatever it is, but they got there. But it's definitely a great country to be. I highly recommend it. It's always a great experience. And there is, I don't know if you're spiritual, but every country has its spirit. The forces that come from nature or out of the earth or whatever. When you're in America for a couple of weeks, you start to think and feel like an American because the whole atmosphere, the whole spirit kind of influences you. You even understand a little better why they vote for someone like Trump. As soon as you're back in Europe, you don't get it because you're European again. The spirit of the countries are different. In Japan, it's almost like you're slightly on drugs. It's like or a little bit in a dream.
That's
I would say. Yeah. It's very hard to focus in like thinking. It's almost like you're a little when you
everything's neon and stuff like that is what I've heard.
But the spirit is very spiritual. There's spiritual energies there. It's Asia, but it's like it makes you feel good, and it's maybe Blade Runner is a wrong picture, but I always saw Blade Runner as a movie that is a bit like a dream in a way. It's very dreamy somehow. The way it was made. I don't know why I always think about Blade Runner because Japan doesn't have much, maybe the technology, but it doesn't have the brutality and stuff like that you see in Blade Runner. But it's like you're in trance a little bit, slightly, especially a mid-European person. We are very focused. We're very we're very thinking and individual. Things like that are very important for mid-European people. And Japan is more a little in trance and it influences you. But it's a great experience, a great country. And if you have time, there's many places to visit. I remember the last few times that I was there, I have friends there. And there's one lady that I always meet there. And we were sitting in a temple in Tokyo. We were like eaten alive by the mosquitoes. I noticed that later on, but it's like the whole night we were or far into the night, we were sitting on a stone in a temple. It's this white temple, and we're just talking about spiritual things and stuff like that. It was amazing, and you have many places like that where you can connect with the spirituality of Asia. And
I went to South Korea twice in the last couple of years, and Japan was only nearby.
I've been to Korea too.
And in fact, the first time I went to South Korea, I walked into a bar and they play records there, and they had the keeper of the 7 keys, part 1 and part 2 there, and I just bought it from the store for my collection. So that's my connection. And I always remember that. And funnily enough, I was wearing an Avantasia shirt, and the guy was like, he recognized, like, oh, I know that band, they're pretty good, and everyone loves their music and kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, coming back to like the whole music. So I do vocals for a few bands here in Australia, in Sydney, but like for you guys, it's 3 vocalists. How do you get, like, how do you make that work? How do you like, okay, I'm going to sing this, you're going to sing that. Who picks what part?
Well, very often the songwriter has a singer in his mind right away.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Angel from Sasha or Universe. He wanted me to sing it. And he said right away, I've written that song for Michael. And so that's clear. And very often when Andi writes a song, it's like, I don't want to give a number, but it's like most of the time he should sing it because he writes in a specific way. And it sounds great when he does it. And unless he writes a song particularly for both voices, he can do that. Then he has my voice in his head, and then he writes something where he can hear me do that. And that usually works too. He's very capable. He's a really good songwriter. He's just, everything that he does makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I most of the time, the songwriter has a rough idea what he wants, but it's not written in stone. You can still say, wow, it doesn't feel comfortable, you should give it a try. But I must say it is always very, very ego-free. It's always just about whatever makes the song, all the singers shine. It's like,
that's right.
There are spots where Andi just shines, or I shine, or even, we've quite often, much more than we thought, feel like that's a Kai part, That's something I should sing. And it's fun. It really is fun. For me, this was a whole new situation. And when we started to talk about it, I didn't know what to think about the idea. Even just sharing with Andi, even though I liked him and we got along very well. In the beginning, it was weird, but now I don't want to do it any other way. It's just so much. It's easier. You don't have to sing the whole time, You can share it with others. It's more colorful. It's more entertaining for the audience. There's a little Avantasia going on, having.
Yeah. I mean, to throw back to the previous record, the 2021, you guys have a song called "Best Time," which it's fantastic, and you got Alyssa White in the video, and it literally looks like everyone is having the best time, and
we had so
having a
much
ball
fun.
of a
It doesn't
time.
even come across. Honestly. I don't know how he did not capture that, but I was laughing with Andi so much our stomachs were hurting. Honestly, it was in the pandemic. So you have this frustration piled up, and then we did this video. It was so funny that I was kind of disappointed that it almost don't come across. So it's nice that you feel like there's something coming up.
100%. Me and my wife, we watch it. And I was like, how much fun they have had, making this video? You can see Alyssa. She's not even singing. She's just there having fun. It's brilliant.
Yeah, we had only fun. We were even able to make the director laugh, which is hard to do because he's like really like, working and stuff like that. He was laughing. It was like, but it was just the situation. It was like a lot of frustration was piled up because of the pandemic and it was a big relief, It was definitely fun, but it's interesting that you mentioned that because I thought it doesn't come across. I was kind of disappointed that you choose the more serious scenes because we just like 95% of the time we're just fooling around and having fun, and you should have used those instead of most of the scenes that he had chosen in the end, But it's good to hear that at least something comes across. Yeah.
Do convey that to the rest of the band for what it's worth.
She's a nice lady. She's really a nice person. I don't know her very well. Sasha knows her better, but no, it was a pleasant experience.
And what is your favorite song from the album and why?
The 21 or the new one?
No. Sorry, the current album. Sorry, I'm going back and forth, but yeah.
I you know it better than I do. I haven't listened to the album since I recorded it. I don't even have a master here, which I'm sure I'm going to get some pre-prints very soon. But I really like Into the Sun. It was a song that was already there for the previous record. We recorded it, but they changed it so much, also the key, that Andi wasn't happy with it. So we didn't use it on the album and just moved it to this one. And now we recorded it a lot more like it was intended to be, also from the key and whatever. And he wanted it to be a duet, but he had to change the lyrics a little. The lyrics were slightly sexual. And since we're not gay, it would have been weird to sing a duet, you know. So he changed it to a spiritual perspective, which is great, you know. That I really like that. And it's one of my absolute favorite tracks. I think it's a perfect song. It's like it could be a James Bond theme song, you know. I think that's the quality of songwriting that he has put on the table with that one. And there, of course, we recorded a complete Kiske version. We recorded a complete Andi version, and we did this duet out of both. And everything's going to get released sooner or later. But that's a great song. I also like Waiki's shit came out really good. It's always very difficult when he does his demos to really figure out what he wants with it. I knew better now that it's going to be all right. But when we did the first record together, I was like, what is this supposed to be? You know, and then they said, don't worry about it. We always have that situation. We need to figure it out, and we need to, you know, try to understand what he means, because in his head, he knows what he's thinking. Right. He knows exactly what he wants to hear, but he's not really a singer. So he does the vocals on the tracks and tunes it with the tools and whatever, and it sounds weird. Definitely, he's not really a singer, you know. And even the demo recordings, you have rhythm fucks and things. He's like, it's always very rough, the way he makes the demos. But there's always this phase where Charlie sits together with him and then go through all the parts, and Charlie is sorting it out, and he's even singing on it himself, so that I get an idea. And after that, okay, you begin to understand what this is supposed to be. And still, you have to make it your own. And we spent a lot of time. I was 2.5 months. I was in Tenerife. No pressure, just trying out things as often as I liked. Recorded it as many times as I felt like, or we all felt like, now it's working. And one of the arguments of Charlie which is a great argument, was it doesn't sound enough like Kiske now. I want to hear more Kiske. You know, when you still hear the demo too much in your head and kind of repeat what the songwriter was doing on his demo, this is not necessarily a good thing. You sing the melody, of course, but you don't want to sound like Kai, or you don't want to sound like any of the other songwriters. And sometimes I did it 3 times. Sometimes, I did some rough recordings already before when I was here, and then I really had to learn the song. So we did one day where we were just recording bit by bit, like every line, until, okay, that's how it works. So I could hear it. He was uploading it on the server, and next morning I could hear it, like in my room, and got to know it better. And then we did another recording where you do a little more of a performance, and very often I did a third one, a complete new recording again. And then sometimes I even changed the vibe. There was a song from Kai that we were recording, and where I just said, it needs a different spirit. It needs a bit of the ironical kind of tone. It needs a bit of that rise and fall spirit. And then we did that, and that was a total winner. It made the song, I don't even remember which one it was. It was one from Waiki. I'm really bad at the moment because I haven't listened to the shit. But it was a song from Waiki that I changed the whole attitude, and that really made it work. You know, but you got to take the time for that. It's fun. It was great. There was no pressure. It was amazing weather. I mean, I was like, I don't think you can record vocals in any better circumstances than how I did this time. It was amazing.
I just wanted to say, like, I think I've been fortunate enough to see you guys live at Wacken 2 years ago.
Right.
And it was like, so I went to Wacken, and, you know, it's like watching all my bands. And the 2 bands that did clash for me was Helloween and Amorphous. You know, It was like I had to make a hard decision, and, you know, I stood there for Helloween, you know, with, you know, my feet in the mud. And I was like, this is fantastic. Like, because it was always like, for me, like, I wanted to see the 3 singers. I wanted to see the whole lineup, it's like, as you mentioned, like, I'm a fan of Avantasia, Arion, what they do with those kind of like, orchestrations. So it was fantastic seeing all of that. And I'm also sure that, you guys, I think the last time Helloween has come to Australia was 10 years ago. So
I've never been there.
You've never been there.
I've never set foot on Australia. I mean, even with South America, I was off the music scene for over 20 years. I didn't care. I was pissed. I hated everything. And the first time that I was in South America was with Avantasia. That was amazing. I'm still getting goosebumps when I think about it. The audience was singing my name.
How good is that?
It's amazing. It was the first tour after 20 years with Avantasia and stuff like that. But when I walked on the stage and it was just so amazing. And don't forget, I was off anything like that for such a long time. But that was because I never was there.
Yeah.
In my early days with Helloween, you didn't go to South America. You would have just died there. There was just no organization. You couldn't tour there. I mean, some tried and failed because it's just chaos. It's still chaos, but if you know who to talk to and who to deal with, you can make it happen. And now it's quite nice. I love going to South America. Okay. But that was an experience. I mean, that was my first time in South America, and I've never been to Australia, not even for holidays or anything like that. And it was planned. We go.
You should come. You should bring the 40th anniversary tour with the Giants and Monsters to the land down under. Where there's actual monsters, right? Like that's what everyone says.
Before the pandemic in 2020, we had the plan to start a tour in I think September 2020. And obviously didn't take place, but that we had a date in Australia. It was after Japan. There was one or two dates in Australia, but because of the pandemic, it just never happened. And at the moment, I don't know if there is anything. Might be. I haven't looked at the update yet, but there might be something. I mean, I'm sure something's sometime down the line we're gonna go there. I'm sure.
We would love you guys to come, like 100%.
I'd love to go there. I've never been there. I mean, this is like almost the best part of this job, the traveling, to visit all those countries, and it's good for your soul too,
100%.
I was like, when I was 19 years old, I was already traveling the world and meeting people all over the world. So it's like, you don't have the risk of becoming a square. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Isolated in your country.
Yeah, no.
Good for the soul.
It's about, like you were talking earlier about Japan and your experiences, and that is something that that is the experience. Experience needs to be experienced. It can't be bought.
Yes.
Yes.
It's not good. It's not good if people just stay in their own houses the whole time, just in their country, and learn about the world from the TV. You don't learn anything. Yeah.
You got to travel. And you got to experience, and that brings its own wealth of knowledge.
Yes, and you get to realize, yes, there are culture differences, and you can see them beautiful or negative or whatever, but deep down we're all the same. Deep down, as humans.
We all like metal, right? Like that's
most.
And with touring, like I know you tour a lot. Like, what is one essential item that you take? A personal item that you take when you go touring.
Again. You mean like something you take with you, or what do you
something that you take, like, this is like, for me, everywhere I go, this is going to be there. It's my good luck charm. I don't know if it's a good luck charm or something.
I don't have good luck charms, but I always have a little Nintendo Switch with me. I just bought the new one.
The Switch.
I just bought the 2. I was one of the first ones. Because you have a lot of waiting time. I hardly ever use it, but sometimes that's just a perfect thing to do when you're waiting for a flight or whatever, or it's a long flight. And you just
100%.
Play a little. Yeah. It's great. I mean, I always have a Kindle with me with lots of books that I care about. I can't live without it. I mean, I'm reading a lot. And the Kindle technology is perfect for it. You don't have to take books with you. It's like you can have 2,000 books with you in that little thing. That's what I always have with me. I always have a noise canceling headset over the ear.
Yeah.
That I usually put on right when I go into the plane and turn it on, so it's like all the noise gets taken out. Things like that. But it's like in some of the places you also like to buy things. You like to. It's like when you're in South America, when you're in Mexico, it's a good place to look for silver. You know, like whatever, like some pendants or whatever, because they have this. I like the imperfection of hand-built silver kind of stuff. I mean, I have a chain that I could even get it that is like that thick, and it has like I show it to you.
It's quite nice of Michael to get up and show me his chain.
Doesn't matter. I can't find it, but it's like
That's
very thick.
You tried,
and it looks very rough, and it's affordable. It's not very expensive there, but the stuff looks great. There's just no better place than the particular marketplaces for silver when you're in Mexico. That's where you gotta look for this stuff. But in Japan, for instance, they have these special gifts, and they have this habit. It's part of their culture. When they meet someone or someone comes for a visit, that you give presents. It's a very Japanese thing to give, which is nice. It's a nice habit. And some of the stuff that they give to you is great. You know, you have these, I don't know what it's called, where you get air, you know, that stuff.
Oh, yeah, the
but
fat.
like really precious stuff sometimes that you get, and those things you take with you. This is why it's always good when you play in Japan at the end of a tour, so you don't have to carry the stuff with you the whole time. Or you have to ship, like pack a box and send it to your own place or to your brother or something like that, you know. But Japan is great about that too. They have very unique habits and as parts of their culture and social life.
But I want to thank you so much personally, and also from
Thank you.
Headbangers Australia. It was fantastic to have a chat with you. Great album. Can't wait for it to come out for the rest of the world. And
the response is great. It was really good. I mean, we wouldn't release it if we wouldn't like it.
Yeah,
but so we're always happy. But it's also great when you have a feedback, and it's really well received everywhere.
Yeah. Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Helloween.
Thank you. See you soon. Maybe in Australia. Who knows?
Cheers.